Number 100.
Wow.
100.
Yay. Cheers to us.
Who knew a few years ago that we'd actually be doing it this long?
I was hoping we would.
Yeah.
I think we all were hoping.
I think
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
surprised we're still doing this.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're still doing it.
We did
Yeah.
go, we had a hiatus. It was sort of, everybody's schedule was different.
Life
and
got
Yeah.
in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes to pick a date that works for the three of us.
Yeah.
So, and, especially with you, Judy has two
Especially with me. I
kids
get
at home.
home.
Well, she has two 16-year-old girls and a husband.
We're always
and
ready to do
that's
it, but
well, not always, but
Shut up! And my schedule, I'm
Yeah.
full-time in the office now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
throws things off a little
That's
bit.
true. That's
Yeah.
very true. So
Yeah.
here we are. I mean, should we have wine right away? 'Cause it's
I think we
100?
should.
yeah,
And because
let's do.
it's our
I was gonna
100th.
bring a bottle of. I had a nice
Oh.
cava in the fridge, but I said I know that you don't really like it. And I said I'm gonna open it and.
Well, I know
nobody's-
you don't really like white, Carol, but this is supposed to be a very
Well,
nice
you tasted
bottle.
this, didn't we?
No.
Where did we have this?
You tasted
We
the
did.
red.
Oh.
This is Hafner.
Not Hefner.
No, Hafner.
Hafner.
Hafner. This is a 2022 estate bottled
Oh my God, it
reserve
smells so good.
Chardonnay.
No, I don't
Oh.
like Chardonnay.
I know
but-
you
I
don't.
love
but that's
Chardonnay is my favorite wine.
So it's,
I like
it's
Chardonnay,
good.
too.
It's good for the 100th show that you get your wine.
That's right. We're
I like
we're the ones
Chardonnay.
that matter.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
let me tell you.
Let me
Oh,
turn
do we
that-
want to still? Yes.
Oh yes, but
Oh,
to
my.
To us, 100.
To our 100th podcast.
Podcast.
Maybe we have 100
Wildflowers.
more.
may we have 100 more.
We'll see you in 200.
Okay. Oh my God.
Oh God, it smells so
Yes,
delicious.
doesn't it?
Mm.
Oh, come on, you might like it. Open
No, I
mine.
might.
It's very good.
You need a
It
good
doesn't
one.
taste like Chardonnay to me.
Yeah, it does.
Not to me. I'm
Tastes
saying
like a good
pretty-
Chardonnay.
That's probably what it is.
What do you drink with?
Oh, I almost dropped my.
Oh my gosh! What do
That's
you,
it. No more for you.
What do you drink with seafood?
Red wine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
And people are judging.
No,
This
that's
is,
not. That's old school
I
anymore.
know, I know.
No, I know. I used to feel that way, but no.
This has a taste in the back of my tongue that is not fruit.
All right, let me see if you're right. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's some kind of seasoning, but not a spice, not spicy. Let me see.
Well, would you like me to read from what it has, or do you want to guess?
You could read it. It's something familiar to me.
Okay, so the 2022 Reserve Chardonnay is fruit forward, lively and youthful. It opens with lovely fruit aromas, Camas pear, orange blossom, Sharon melon that are enhanced with notes of wet stone, flint, and toasted brioche.
What?
Maybe it's the brioche or the stone. I don't know.
Rich
In the back
supple-
of my tongue, I
Yeah.
have this not fruity taste.
Well, they said it has rich, supple, round on the palate, has flavors of pink grapefruit, lemon cream,
I was gonna
and
say
roasted
lemon.
nuts.
I almost said grapefruit. I said,
I
is
almost
it
said
grapefruit? I wonder
There
if that's
it
what
is.
it was.
I almost-
Sweet vanilla toastiness from barrel fermentation and extended barrel aging enhance its bouquet.
How many
It's delicious.
alcohol content?
That's
is-
okay.
We're gonna
You might
It
guess.
have-
doesn't taste that high. I'm going to say 13.
I'm gonna say 13.5.
You'll have to read it because even I can't find it here. Or maybe it's on the front. Let's see. Oh, it's on the front.
Oh.
13.7.
Oh, okay.
That's close.
Okay, so this is a reserve bottle.
Okay.
What would you pay for
Delicious.
this?
Oh, I know that the other Hafner was very expensive. So what would I pay for it?
Now, what do you think how much it would
Right. I'm going to say it's $47.99.
Okay.
$24.99.
It is $39.
Oh, okay.
It's right in between
Yeah,
both of
yeah.
these. So I think,
Alright.
It's
and I
delicious.
think that's a good price for
Yeah.
this. I
It's
think
very
a deli-
good.
It's not a heavy Chardonnay.
No,
No,
not at
no.
all.
It's not a buttery
It is not a
Chardonnay.
lot of oak in it at all, and
No.
I do like oak and I like butter,
Mhm.
but this is,
Different.
it's very different.
It's lighter.
It's
It is lighter.
but
Yeah.
it's still giving me heartburn.
Really?
Yeah, I get heartburn from
With white wine.
and champagne. I can't drink champagne.
Oh gosh.
This is good.
I'm sorry.
Don't why you
Delicious. Thank
sorry?
Well, this, and I do want to say, this is was a gift to my husband and I too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we have another bottle at home, so I'm not stealing.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So
You can take it
we
home.
had, yeah, you can take.
Why
this
don't you
with
take it home and drink it?
Now we can drink it. So,
That's
that's
right. You
true.
bring it home.
but I think it's a
You
good. I
bring
think
it-
it's a good. You bring it home too, and you get a bottle, and you get a bottle. So no, I think it's good. So what would we rate this?
Oh, this for me is a 5, definitely. It's
And
very
you're
good.
very
I like
finicky
it.
with
I like
Chardonnay.
it.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is very different from what I.
Yes.
It doesn't have that butteriness. I don't like a lot of butter, but I don't really taste it.
Even though I don't like Chardonnay as a Chardonnay, I would definitely give it a 5.
I think it's a 5 for
I'm not going
Chardonnay.
to drink it, but
I like it. I like it's not heavy. It doesn't leave much of an aftertaste. Sometimes that can
Yeah.
happen. I think it's a very nice glass. Thank you very much.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you to
awesome.
who
Well,
ever gave it to
we
them.
didn't banter before. Do you ladies
Let's
have any
banter. Oh,
before?
please.
I know it's our 100th.
If we open up a can of worms, you know.
Well, the last thing that I heard that was disturbing, because I've really been trying not to immerse myself in the goings on because I get so rageful.
Yeah.
But I did briefly hear this morning, it was just a little blurb, that Donald Trump said if Sean Combs gets convicted, he'll consider pardoning him.
He's pardoning everybody that
Or
paid
the
him
crooks,
off.
everybody
Yeah.
who's like him.
Yeah.
Sexual abusers, harassers,
Yeah.
fraudsters, tax evasions,
And
abusive.
Wasn't there discussion that he would think about pardoning the ones who went after the Michigan governor as
Yes.
well?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So-
This is.
well,
yeah.
he's misogynist, that's why. So
But
it's that.
what's the
and
message, do you think, the message is here?
the message is be like me. I don't want to be convicted of it. So if you are that kind of criminal, because they're trying to, a little thing that I've read, they're trying to redefine what is a criminal.
Oh, Jesus.
But isn't he?
So it's not white
Isn't their
collar.
platform the Law and Order kind of a party that he ran on a platform of Law and Order?
yeah.
His
So, is this
version of
flipping it?
law and order.
Well, they should actually add loyalist and order, not law,
Yeah.
loyalist, because the daughter to the Chrisleys, you know, so she, you know, spoke at his function, and then
And she
they-
donated.
She
him
donated
$1
$1 million.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can
Her
buy your
parents,
way.
yeah.
You can
So-
buy your way out of this.
So loyalty,
sorry.
as far as the messaging, would be like if you're a fraudster like the Chrisleys,
Uh-huh,
or if you're an attempted
An alleged
murderer,
rapist or
or
murderer,
alleged-
abuser.
or sex trafficker.
Exactly.
January
That's okay.
6th. All the people
Because they don't
Yeah.
care what happens to women.
Right.
You know, they don't. They really don't. I mean, it's,
or how you earn your money. You could
Exactly.
do it by fraud. You could do it by
as long as
lying.
you get rich. But if you're
Right.
a
And
poor
willing to
person and
give
you
it
steal
to
something
other
from a
people.
store, then you're a criminal.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
It's-
so
it's
that's what the
horrific.
message. That's what the
Horrific.
message
yeah.
is coming.
Not
across.
everybody's hearing the message, though.
Right.
Especially women. There are
Well,
so many
it's
women who
so-
still support him. How
It's
could
so
you?
crazy because somebody I know, after he got in office, or November 5th, she posted something like, "Oh, thank God, you know, I'm not going to suffer anymore with money. And, you know, like under Biden, I wasn't making enough money and all this stuff." And now her tune is, "Oh, thank God he's going after the immigrants." There's nothing talking about what he's done about the money
with
because
the economy,
he has
yeah.
done nothing about that.
No, he's actually single-handedly destroying it.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
But is there something else we could talk about other than what's going on? I mean,
Oh, I have a word.
oh, there we go. Okay.
Here we are. Here's a word.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
I've actually used this word quite a bit since I've discovered it.
Fuck. I find myself saying that an awful lot lately at the TV.
Oh, and I also found out Jesus Christ's middle name.
Jesus.
No, it's
Jesus fucking
no,
Christ.
no, it's
Jesus
Jesus H. Christ. And I said, I was with Natasha the other night. I go, she was, "Oh, Jesus H. Christ." And I was
Yeah.
like, "What's the H stand
I
for?"
know, because I've
And
heard
she-
that for years.
And she goes, "Howard." I could not stop laughing. We're having dinner together. I could not.
That's
So
a
I
good
go,
one,
"Jesus
Natasha."
Howard
I
Christ."
wonder why it is H. There must be an origin
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that.
But go ahead.
Okay. Squiz.
Squiz.
Squiz?
Ooh, that sounds.
SQUIZ.
And you can use this.
Oh yeah, I use it a lot.
I think it has something to do with a quiz, but maybe it's shorter. A short
you
quiz.
both use this.
Squiz?
And you don't even know it.
It's a squiz and we both use it.
Something about brushing our teeth.
No, okay, this is Australian and New Zealand slang for a quick, close look or glance.
Oh.
Take a
Can you say, are you
yeah,
squizzing
often
me?
used with the phrase "have a squiz." So, like, you're talking about have a squiz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look over there.
It can also be
Squiz.
used as a verb, meaning to take a look or glance. The word is believed to be a blend of squint and quiz.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, quiz was in there. I
It
was partly
you were
right.
Yeah. So we do that. So like I use it with the girls, and I'm like, you just squizzed me. Like I did. Yeah.
It's kind of like an aside glance,
Like
I guess.
a side, or if you're talking about somebody, they're like, take a squiz. And
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
over my shoulder,
Yeah.
you know, like that.
That's
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
fun. I have to
Like,
remember
don't look now, but
Yeah.
you get it.
Have a squiz.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
Is
a
it
good one.
SQUIZ?
SQUIZ.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, only one C?
interesting.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
There you are. So you have a squiz.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, because we haven't been on it so long, there's so many different
Yeah.
things. I do have a dog, an extra dog here today. I've had Bonnie here before. Bonnie's here with me a lot.
I
And
like
she's
Bonnie.
so sweet, and her mom and dad are very sweet. They're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for the few days to
well, that's
veg
nice.
and-
Lancaster's nice.
Yeah,
It's
so
a nice place.
I've never been, but I would love to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's
Yeah, no, Bonnie's a good dog.
yeah. The weather has been. How was the weather in Paris?
The weather in Paris was wonderful. We had one day where it was a little iffy with the rain, and so I had packed like a little umbrella, and we had raincoats. And again, I'm wearing a scarf again because I'm just going to start using these more.
Yeah.
I found that most of the people from Paris don't really use umbrellas, or they had their scarves, and they would just put this, especially for like rain.
They're probably like
and they
tote
Right,
scarves
and
that
they
are water
tacked it-
repellent.
And I was just so impressed with
Yeah.
looking around and seeing how people, dressed and just to kind of make it their own.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
who is that? Barb?
Lewis
Yeah.
wants to be put up on the bed, I think.
Oh,
on my
does he?
bed.
Do you want me to do it?
No, I can do
Oh,
it.
okay. So that was the latest thing there.
Everybody go to bed.
But
We did. That's okay.
I'll stay here.
And so I was telling you we went to Versailles,
Yes,
which I thought was really nice. You should do that next.
Yeah, the next time. The next time I'm going to have a better plan. This was
Yeah.
my first time, and I was doing it on my own, and I was trying to do London and Paris, and I
That's
had
a
to
lot.
book the trains back
Yeah.
and forth, the hotels in 3 different places, because we went to London twice.
Yes.
We were in London, then we went to Paris, and then we went back to London. So I was like booking 3 different, accommodations. Hello.
Hi, handsome.
So anyway, but
Yeah.
I just glanced randomly at my book here, and this must have been from another podcast, maybe the last one. So I'm just going to read a sentence I just looked
Okay.
at. If your dick were being regulated, would you vote differently?
Don't use that language in front of Lewis. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, of course, it would be a whole different story.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
It's so scary. We were talking a little offline before the second podcast about The Handmaid's Tale because
Yeah.
I'm playing catch up with the last season because I didn't
Yeah.
have Hulu for a little bit. And now I'm just finished this. I'm on the 2nd episode of the 6th season.
Yeah.
But something stark happened in that first episode where you have a quick glance or a squiz at the desk of I don't know his name, but he used to be in Parenthood, where they had a map of the United States, and as he looks down, the whole thing now says Gilead.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And talking and just reminding myself of what this book has shown us
Mm-hmm.
and how it happens.
Yeah, it happens state by state.
It's
Yeah, we're living
really,
it.
really
Yeah.
concerning to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
we have to stay alert, and we have to fight this. We have to. And we've been going to rallies.
Yeah, Carol and I are going to one on the 14th, No King's Day, and that's the same day that Donald Trump is giving a big military parade in his honor for his birthday, like Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Just like a dictator would do.
Right, especially when
And it's costing, what, $6 million? And now it's gone up, I think, the price of it.
Well, it's got a
But we're
place.
firing federal workers, so we're saving money.
I know. So there are all over the country. There are going to be no King's protests, and Carol and I are going to one in Mineola. We live on Long Island, so I have to make out signs. And
I might be able to go too.
Pope
that would be
Leo,
awesome.
Pope Leo,
Yes.
the new Pope, planned his big Pope party in Chicago on the same day,
Right.
and I know he did it intentionally
Yeah. Well, that
makes me
because
feel
he
better.
speaks out against the way they're treating the environment. That's
Yeah.
all part of, God's plan. You're the caretaker of the earth.
We are.
And also about immigrants. He was very involved in that. So when I saw that, I said, okay, I love you, Pope Leo. Thank you.
He's okay, yeah.
That's his form of protest. So
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, it was in the
that's
Times the other day.
information.
I said, yay, hooray. So
Well,
I mean-
anyway, it's we have to stay on top of this because people are choosing. Some people are putting blinders on. Oh, I can't control anything anyway. Well, that's how things happen.
It's also, and let's, be a little more controversial about it, but what's going on currently in Palestine
Oh,
by Israel.
there's people starving to death.
children,
It's a-
babies.
I'm reading a very interesting book, and I'll talk about another podcast, which is called The Indigenous Peoples History of the United States.
Oh, okay.
Very
I've heard of that book.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's the
Mhm.
20th
Yep.
anniversary issue, which I just picked up. I'm almost done with it. Throughout it, it talks about a scorched earth campaign and what that means. And when you look at it, it's like, this is what's happening in Palestine right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I'm not getting into the politics of it.
Right.
But what is happening to civilians
Mm-hmm.
that don't have any political involvement whatsoever
I know.
is unacceptable.
It's genocide.
This is genocide.
Israel is committing genocide, and I don't think that you should be accused of being anti-Semitic if you don't like what Israel is doing.
Right.
And that's how that's being turned around on people.
Yeah. And we should call it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have people in this country who are calling it for what it is and are being removed
Exactly.
Yes.
and persecuted
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
unjustly without due process.
Yeah.
Pay attention, speak up, and be a part of the resistance there.
Because next
Yeah.
it could be you that
It
come
could be
after
you.
you too if you speak out against them.
Yep.
I know.
That's what
Every
I want
time
to
we're
say.
thinking about
Yeah.
going to one of these protests, rallies, I think somebody with a car
Oh, yeah.
could. And we were very well protected the last
Yeah.
one in Mineola.
But the one that Natasha and I went to in Huntington, I found out, this woman, Diane, who was there, she said, oh, were you around when the MAGAs drove down the street and they intentionally swerved and tried to go into the crowd? I mean, they could have if they wanted to.
Yeah.
They didn't, but they tried to cause
Scare
fear.
tactics, yeah.
And no, I didn't see that. On our
Wow.
side of the street, I hadn't
Cowards.
seen.
They didn't have enough
cowards.
police presence. When we
No,
went
they
to the
had
one in
no.
Mineola, the hands-off one, the Nassau County Police, I have to hand it to them.
Yeah.
They did a spectacular job. They protected every corner so cars could not turn because people were lined up on the curb
Yeah.
of Old Country
Yeah,
Road.
it could have been bad.
They had barricades set up. They had cop cars at every corner, making sure that they were blocking cars from turning into the shoulder because
Yeah.
people were so close.
Yeah.
They were great. I have to give them
Yeah.
kudos for
And
that.
they were very nice too.
Yeah, they
had
were,
a
they
nice
were.
sense of humor and that kind of
Good.
thing.
And they were standing out there in the pouring rain
Yes.
with us. We all had raincoats on. They didn't.
Right, yeah. It was damp, it was cold. It
Yeah,
was-
yeah.
Well,
So-
okay, so before we get off the rails even more, because it could just give me such agita. I get really worked up this
I know.
I really do. I was doing well for a while, and then I just see everything he's getting away with, and it's just,
Well, that's the thing. You see everybody caving to him, and that's very disheartening.
yeah.
And especially when
Except
it's the
Bruce
higher
Springsteen.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Springsteen is not caving, and
Yep.
and then the dumbass scumbag in the White Office, the White House, just writes the most insane thing. Instead of caring about the country, it's his ego that's hurt. He's got to grow a pair because he doesn't have any.
Who's got a growth here are those, the
Republicans
law
in
firms,
Congress.
the big law firms, the large institutions like Columbia, Harvard.
Harvard is.
Harvard's sticking it to them.
And I hope they toe the line, because if they don't, there's a reason why they're being attacked first. Because if they cave, as some of those law firms did,
All
then
the
there's
rest
no
of them
hope
go.
for the little ones.
Exactly.
There's no hope for the little education institutions.
But did you?
They have to hold the line. And I was annoyed with Columbia.
Yeah, I
was
know.
annoyed, and my daughter was
They
looking
got
at
booed
Columbia.
at their
We're
graduation.
not looking at Columbia anymore.
The president got booed at making the
as-
speech
as
at
he
Columbia.
should.
And Harvard,
Yeah.
they got applause because
Yes.
he spoke
Yes,
out.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So that is something to.
The most
they have to
important
hold
people
on.
who have to speak up are Congress.
Yeah.
Republicans in Congress have to find their balls
Yeah.
and stop helping him break the law
They're
and
not
take
going
their
to.
power back.
They're not going to.
Well, then hopefully
people.
in November they all lose their seats. All the ones who are running.
But the Supreme Court is giving win after win
I know.
after win.
I know.
We knew that was going to happen. All right, I'm going to talk about a book.
Okay, good.
It's my turn.
Good.
Tell us.
Okay, well, I just interviewed this author about a week and a half ago or whatever, Becky Aikman, and the book is called Spitfires, The American Women Who Flew in the Face of Danger During World War II.
Oh, cool.
And it was such an interesting story, and she did such amazing research that and the reason she wrote this book is because she was between books and she wasn't sure what to work on, and her mother said, why don't you talk about the women in World War II that weren't allowed to fly here in the States, but Britain allowed them to be pilots. So
They just did a story of this too on CBS.
with her, with the author?
It might have been.
It
with
might
her
have been.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's done a lot of interviews for this book, and it just pulls you in. It's nonfiction, but it flows so well, and she writes about all these different women and their different personalities. She said what inspired her to write Spitfires, and it was her mother that told her to do some research. And she was hard pressed to find much for a while. It took her a lot of digging
Especially
around.
nowadays.
Yeah. So she wrote about, I'm going to just talk about some of the women. One was Dorothy Fury, and Dorothy wanted to be a pilot during a time when women didn't even drive cars, which is so interesting. But she had 17,
Dorothy Fury.
at 17 years old, she already knew the damage that Hitler could cause. So this was something very passionate
Also
that
smart.
she was. Yeah. Jacqueline Cochran. She is described as brass, flashy, and reigned as the most celebrated American aviatrix since Amelia Earhart. Now, I've never heard of her before, but it was discovered that she didn't know how to read and didn't recognize the alphabet, and she was born into poverty as Bessie Mae Pittman. So all these stories that she found with these women was just so interesting. Another one was Winnabelle Pierce, and she flew just for the thrill of it. And when you think about how planes were back then,
I know.
mean, they were
Open,
rattle traps. Yes.
You're
Yeah,
freezing.
propellers.
Yeah. And back then,
Noisy.
a lot of them had to wear skirts.
Yeah.
If they were female pilots, they were expected to wear skirts, but they ended up converting, eventually wearing pants. Okay. So she also wrote about these workers that were waiting for these women to come into the aerodrome, these men, and they were eager to see these women that are going to come. They didn't care that they were going to be flying planes or anything. And the men didn't hide their disappointment. They expected Ginger Rogers or Betty Grable
Yeah.
looking women.
I remember she said that.
And Virginia Farr, who was a misfit of the group of female pilots, and she was an American aristocrat, so she was very well to do, is quoted as saying, The walk past the windows filled with silent male faces, all dropping as they saw the travel-stained girls arriving. You could feel their thoughts. Why, one's fat and one's definitely strapping. No glamour anywhere. So this is very telling, even what women have to
Oh
put
my
up
God.
with.
Yeah, it was have to be glamorous.
Yes,
Yeah.
or it was during a time when they were pressured to be married and have babies. You know, these
Women
women.
are supposed to accept men the way they look, no matter
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
anything.
Hot
Beer
bellies over the
belly,
belts, yep,
short,
yep.
fat, stupid,
Yep.
you know, wife beaters, whatever.
Yep.
But you know,
Women have to.
women have
well,
to be
You know.
Ginger Rogers
Mm-hmm.
after flying across country in a skirt.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Come
being
on.
there to fight for a
Stupid.
very good cause, and then
Stupid.
this is what they're focused on. So anyway, later on, this British flyer, Rosemary Rees, said, as the war went on and became very serious and people began to get tired, it came down to men and women becoming just people, which, after, you know, exactly. Exactly. Any person who was capable of doing something did it. All those pretty little barriers that are put up in peacetime to make society more pleasant melt away in a big crisis, and life becomes a grim struggle of tired gray people all doing whatever it is they can do. Chivalry was neither expected nor offered. So it was, finally they were, okay, we're here to do something important.
We're
and
here to do the job.
Exactly. And another woman, Nancy Miller, said, it might have started as a lark for many, like, you know, these women that came from the United States to go to Britain, like, oh, we can fly.
Yeah.
But then she goes, Nancy was shy and young when she arrived in Britain, but she goes, but the work soon told. And then she, you know, there was just so many different women, different personalities. They had relationships with a lot of men, and a couple of women had relationships with other women. And the one story I found so fascinating was gender pioneer Joy Ferguson, because she ended up becoming Jonathan. She had the reconstructive surgery. So as a man in a government job, he ended up enjoying permission to wear trousers instead of a skirt and won an immediate raise in pay. Imagine, isn't that bizarre?
Oh, it's not surprising.
I kind of was. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else about this book. So, all right, I want to read this last paragraph. I don't think it's a spoiler. 271. Okay, so there had been 1,246 pilots and flight engineers who flew for the organization, including 168 women. They delivered 309. Oh, he's okay.
He's out there.
Okay, 309 million aircraft of 147 types. Those who gave their lives included 173 aircrew. 17 of them were women, including Mary Webb Nicholson of North Carolina. Lord Beaverbrook's warm farewell praised the men of the organization, but never mentioned the women. The era when women pilots would fall out of mind had already begun. So it was like, and it was like a lot of the women after the war, as we know, they lost their jobs, they had to go back to, you know.
No one would hire them.
No one would hire them. Men needed to get back into their jobs, and so the women had to leave. You're good now. You're good now. But I give this 5 Wildflowers.
Again, impressed. This is being published now.
One of the women that flew, I don't remember which one it was. She did go on to be successful. She learned how to fly a helicopter because she could get hired to do that.
Right.
She started her own helicopter company, actually.
With her
She was
husband.
she was very successful.
Yeah.
But it was inspiring that Becky Aikman's mother, Becky was talking to her mother who was in her
That's what
90s.
I'd said that at the beginning.
I'm saying how I was inspired by that. Is that all right with you?
No.
That Becky said to her mother, I don't know. I want to write about something that like people haven't heard about, and you didn't say that part.
Yeah,
You
I did.
did. No, you didn't. I'm gonna show you the recording when it comes out. And that's how her mother said these women, and Becky said, "Oh, did they really exist? I don't know." She was questioning it.
Well, this is the importance of, and I'm purposely pivoting because I don't want to get in the middle of this argument between the two here. But as it's the importance of having the access to this information that you could find it, because they were at the time, pushed out of their job again, because the men come back, and so they weren't deemed useful. Information wasn't preserved or highlighted in the way that a traditional man's, accomplishments would. But over the years, it came out again. We are seeing now the erasure of
women from history.
Accomplishments of women and minorities,
exactly,
and so forth. And it's why it's important that there's people and publishers keep publishing books. With stories like this.
Yeah, she got a lot of the information from the family of one of the women. Because I guess in their family they talked about it, and
they had diaries. She had diaries.
Absolutely.
And they were so grateful. Like, thank you. Like nobody ever talks about this. And in England, there was more information about it than here in the United States.
And there's only one woman is still alive, and she's 104 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh, what an interesting story and life these women had.
So get yourself a copy.
They were pioneers.
I think I don't know when is this going to air. I think it'd make a great Father's Day gift. I think men need to read this. I think it's very powerful. So there you go.
And somebody who loves aviation. Anyone who loves aviation, or
when she describes these planes, I was like, oh my gosh.
I've seen these planes up front. They're no luxury. You would never get in one.
And Becky did bring out too that these women, like usually when you're a pilot, you're trained on one kind of plane.
Oh yeah.
And they went over there and they had never flown.
Never flew them.
But they figured it out and they did it, and they did it successfully. And
they were just so brave. They were just and inspired and just adventurous, fearless. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a quote. Being that you said that, there is one quote. If I can find it real quick before we move to the topic. I don't want to waste time here. Page 2. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
No, that's okay.
American women who flew in the face of danger during World War II.
And I like a book that has photos in it too.
And this one does. I cut through the middle of the book and found the photos. Really interesting pictures.
Yeah.
They have original, passports here.
It's got to be on this page somewhere.
Gosh. And
all right, it's I can't find it, but anyway.
Because you're looking for it.
Exactly.
And you're in a hurry.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a very, very good discussion.
Yes.
And Carol interviewed Becky Aikman, and you did an awesome job, Carol. Really. And I'm sure that she appreciated the interesting questions that you asked. It's not.
She said she wasn't used to having such interesting questions.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said,
you're reading.
Well, I said, these are questions I want answers to.
Yeah.
And she goes, that's what makes you a good journalist. And she had a journalism friend who was there, and he was very
from Newsday. And he came up to me at the end of the event because Carol was participating in the signing with Becky, and he said, I want you guys to know that Carol did an excellent job of interviewing, that it was exemplary.
Good for you, Carol.
It was very good.
Journalism is very important.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I just found it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I said to her.
We bought you some time.
You did, thank you. I said to Becky, so you go on to write how their personalities ranged, and they range from fun-loving to sober-minded, reckless to cautious, because there was some women that were very reckless, but they all shared a steadiness, a purpose, and iron self-assurance.
Yeah.
And that was
very nice.
Yeah.
So there you go. So who's doing the topic?
I am doing the topic, and I did this like weeks and weeks ago because we haven't.
We were supposed to do it.
Yeah, when was that? And we didn't even have one in April. We didn't even have, did we have one in April? Or the
We
beginning
had
of
it in
April?
the beginning of April.
Yeah, like April
Yeah.
4th or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And then I knew I had the next topic, so I did this, so I'm not refreshed on
That's
it. I've been
alright.
very busy the last couple of weeks. But my topic is, I figured I'd do a topic about funerals.
Oh, that's right. You said you wanted to do that.
No
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question just for you guys. Like in your family, like what is a funeral in your family? What kind of rituals do you have, or customs,
Oh.
or?
Interesting. Well, I found it very curious when my mom passed away, because at the wake, the people, when they approached you, they said, "I'm sorry for your troubles."
Oh, really?
They said, "I'm
Oh.
sorry for your troubles." And I looked at Carl and I was like, "They're sorry for our trouble." It's just something they say
Yeah,
up
people
there.
say it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was aware of it when my dad passed away, and I said, "Oh, thank you." I wasn't like,
No trouble at all.
I'm like, "What do you know about me?" Sorry for my troubles.
Oh,
But yes.
yeah, usually people say, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
Sorry for your
I'm
loss.
sorry
Yeah.
for your troubles.
Right.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting. Now, in your family, you did the whole wake thing for
Yeah.
3 days, or?
No. For my parents, no. For mom, I'm trying to think. I think we just did the afternoon and evening, and the next day was the burial.
Right.
So, and
right.
same with my dad. My dad's, I have to say,
He was a little different because he was very well known in the community.
yes, and he had started the fire department, so it got me really emotional because they put his coffin up on the fire truck.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
It was,
That's an honor.
and then they had last call. I'm getting goosebumps
Oh.
thinking about it now, and that was at the cemetery, because I don't know if you're familiar with last call, when you're a firefighter
Firefighter,
and you're retiring, it goes over the sound system or whatever they do.
Oh, their intercom
Yeah.
things?
And they go and they say the name of the person, and they say,
Aw.
and they did that for Dad.
Oh,
They
that's
They do
nice.
something to
Well, he
police
was
officers.
also worked for the DOT in
Yes, he was,
Cherubusco
yeah, he
too,
was in
the highways department. So he was very well known. The few times that I went up there, oh, Chester Sears,
Yes,
you know, everybody like knew who he was.
Well, I was at a
Yeah.
wake down here for Matt's grandfather, my son-in-law's grandfather, and the guy that was dating Matt's sister was from the area upstate.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, "Oh, you're Chester Sears' daughter." And I'm like, he's been gone for a number of years.
Yeah.
And this guy was young. I'm like, "How do you know Chester Sears?" And he goes, "He was a superintendent of highways." I'm like,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
He was a celebrity up there.
He really, well, he used to call square dances when he was
Yeah.
younger.
Oh,
But one
that's
thing, getting back to the whole idea of wakes and funerals, one thing my father made clear when he got buried, and same with my parents, my mother and grandparents, he did not want the tombstone to go up out of the ground, because he wanted it to go flat so that it was easier for the guy mowing the
Yeah.
lawn, that it wasn't in the way.
Yeah.
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 So,
Oh, that's very.
yeah.
I'm
thoughtful.
surprised they don't do that in all cemeteries with
That's
it much,
true.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have really any traditions or some, you know.
You haven't had to.
I know I've been to funerals, but
Right.
usually it's just very, you know, it's like one day of a wake and then your day and evening, and then you go to your, you know, the after the mass, like a mass,
Yeah,
you know, and then
funeral
from
mass,
there, like
yeah.
I unfortunately had to go to a funeral recently up in Boston, in Charlestown, for one of my husband's really close friends, and he was a groomsman. He actually walked down the aisle with
Yes.
you at my wedding,
Yeah.
Damien, and that was very interesting because Charlestown is like a very small subset of Boston. Like if you're from Charlestown, you're from Charlestown.
Yeah.
You know, like they're very close knit, and he was very involved in the restaurant community there. He had a restaurant and was in the process of opening up another one, and when he died, and that was interesting. Where we went to the wake, and then the next day we went to the funeral, and I was a pallbearer. They carry him from the funeral home into the hearse, and then, which I wasn't expecting, and I was driving our car, you know, behind. I figured I'll drive behind the hearse. The pallbearers and the family all walked. They walked. They closed the police closed the whole streets in Charleston.
Oh, wow.
And the hearse the church was at the far end of the street. So it wasn't that
Yeah.
short of a walk. and they closed the whole street, and the hearse just traveled slowly, and the whole family. It was almost like a
royal,
wedding.
a royal.
And I'm driving
funeral.
the car. I was the first one behind theirs, and I was like sobbing. I'm like, oh, this is just so sad. And it was a rainy day. And
Yeah, and he was young too, right?
He was 51, I think.
When
it
it's
was.
it's just
very sad. He had cancer.
Was it a
unfortunately.
closed casket?
It was closed casket. Yeah. It was closed casket. Yeah.
How about you?
In my family, like years ago with my grandparents, that was when people did wakes for 3 days.
Right.
Because that's all about the resurrection. And then you had the funeral mass, and then you went to the cemetery. But with, like when my parents died, we did the one day, afternoon, evening, funeral mass, cemetery, and the same with my husband. We didn't drag it out. And now all of us, their children, we just all want to be cremated, and none of us have cemetery plots or anything.
Right.
And
did you tell your family, your children, what you want?
oh yeah, I did tell them. Like, I think all of us agree. Like, don't bury me. First of all, I'm claustrophobic.
I know you were
and I know, even though I'm gonna be dead, I remember when my sister Eileen died. Oh my God, and she died very young, and it was very tragic, and it was horrible. No, the afternoon drinking I can't do.
Okay.
And she died in the winter on December 6th, and she lived in the Chicago area.
So
And for her funeral, and she was buried.
Oh, they did bury her in the cold?
ground
Yeah,
must have
she
been
was
frozen,
buried.
no?
So we are at the cemetery now, and the grave is open, and her casket is there. And my brother-in-law had hired a bagpipe player who was standing off away from us under a tree, like a shadow under a tree, playing this music that's breaking our heart.
Oh, yeah.
And all I could think about that night when I was trying to go to sleep was how cold my sister was, being buried under the ground. And to me, it horrifies me, that whole aspect of burial.
Yeah.
Even though I like the idea of having a headstone, a remembrance, a place where someone could go and have their thoughts, about the person and how you felt. I just don't like the whole burial part of it.
Yeah.
But I love cemeteries,
Yes, you do.
I'm like a fanatic of I love them.
Yeah.
So
But-
would you want that whole tombstone or the headstone or some
Uh,
sort of
no,
a
because
plaque?
it's very expensive, and it's like really taking this, all that land that, we have all these, clearing land for graves.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I think it's starting to peter out. I think more and more people are opting for burial.
See, upstate in the winter, they don't bury them in
Yeah.
the winter. They put them in this, I forget what the little building is called. And then when the ground thaws,
I was gonna say.
then they bury them.
Yeah.
But like Aunt Opal, who just recently died about a month ago or whatever, she was cremated, but then it's next weekend, I think, they're gonna have her, she's gonna be buried with her siblings, except not my mom, because mom is with dad, but up near Banter. And they're burying her ashes.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, some people do that, or in some cemeteries. I think it was in Greenwood Cemetery. They have a whole crematory place where you put
can
pay.
deposit.
You keep it's like all behind glass. It's very beautiful with your name and the dates
that's
of your
nice.
life, and your urn is right there, and
Oh, that is
so. But
you
I-
might be talking about this, I don't know if I'm getting
Yeah,
ahead of
no,
you.
I'm sorry.
But,
Yeah,
but no, I went to a Chinese
Yeah.
funeral wake, and that was totally different.
Yeah. Don't they wear like all red or something? Or?
I don't know that they actually, I know for weddings they do, I'm not sure, but I do know we had to fold papers. And then you burn the papers, and on the papers they were
okay.
supposed to represent something, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then at the cemetery, you each got a coin, and you were supposed to spend it that day.
I remember you
yeah.
told me that.
You told
Yeah.
us that.
And
Yeah.
then you had to they would tell you when they're lowering the coffin that everybody had to turn their back to how they were blowing, and then they said, okay, you can turn around and now.
Oh.
And it was like all these different things, and you know, it was
Yeah.
very educational, and it just goes
Yeah.
to show, and you're probably going to talk about this, how different cultures
Oh.
have different.
Some of them, like I picked like the most bizarre ones.
Yeah.
But first I just wanted to go to some famous funerals.
Okay.
So like what, think of a famous funeral, like
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana.
Okay.
Elvis didn't come up in this, so. Princess Diana had one of the biggest public funerals. It's estimated that over 1 million people turned out to witness the procession. The Duke of Wellington, who died in 1852, he had 1.5 million people way back then.
Wow.
Lincoln,
But wait, I just have to say something. What year was that with him?
1852.
So the word, how to get the word out, even then.
Newspapers, people read newspapers
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
too.
A lot of people
Yeah.
read newspapers.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Lincoln, there's an estimated 7 million over a 2-week, he did a train journey.
Oh, that's right.
2-week
Right,
train
yeah.
journey from DC to
Yeah.
Illinois. It traveled through Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. The Ayatollah Khomeini, remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 million lined the 20-mile route to the cemetery. It was 1/6 of the population of Iran.
Wow.
Between 2.5 and 3.5 miles, people attending the burial caused difficulties. The crowd of mourners swarmed his simple wooden coffin
Oh my gosh.
to get a shred of the funeral shroud.
Oh wow.
The coffin fell to the ground and the body tumbled out, and guards fired shots overhead, and then the body was placed on a helicopter to be carried away to be buried at another day. And mourners were hanging from the helicopter.
I feel like that's an image
When it was
I
taken
remember.
off.
What year was this again? Do you
That was in, I think the Ayatollah was in the 80s or
80s,
90s.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's-
remember. I remember him, but.
Disturbing.
Yeah. Then Pope John Paul II, 4 million people attended. There were 4 kings, 5 queens, 70 presidents, and prime ministers at his funeral.
okay. Okay. And when you said presidents at first, I thought from the United States.
Oh, no.
I'm like, no, that can't work.
No.
Victor Hugo, in 1885, more than 2 million from the Arc de Triomphe to the Pantheon.
I was there.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we
Very
were
good
there
at the
too,
Pantheon.
yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the Pantheon. It was the first celebrity funeral, and the majority of the crowd were laborers and farmers.
Oh wow.
And Nietzsche called it an orgy of bad taste and self-admiration.
He
But I think that Victor Hugo didn't want that kind of funeral, but they gave it to him anyway. I'm pretty sure I read that he didn't even want it. Then there's a common in Tibet, there is a sky burial. And the Buddhists who believe in sending their loved ones on towards heaven, the bodies are left outside, often cut into pieces for birds or other animals to devour. This serves the dual purpose of eliminating the now empty vessel of the body and allowing the soul to depart, while also embracing the circle of life and giving sustenance to the animals.
Wow.
But imagine coming across that, the cut up bodies.
Yeah, like I wonder if there's a certain place that they just do that, or they.
Yeah.
I don't know.
or you just know not
This
to
one
go
here
there.
is Famadahana, it's called. It means dancing with the dead. In Madagascar, it's a Madagascaran burial tradition. The Malagasy people open the tombs of their dead every few years and rewrap them in fresh burial cloths.
I've heard of this.
Each time they also get a fresh dance near the tomb when the music plays all around. This ritual translates as the turning of the bones, is meant to speed up decomposition and push the spirit towards the afterlife.
The Sting has a song called Dancing with Blood. No,
Oh.
it's Hey Mr. Pinochet. They Dance Alone, I think that's the name.
Dancing with the Dead.
No, I think he calls it They Dance Alone, but he does.
Oh,
talk
okay, and that song, yes, I know, yeah.
That's mothers going to dance with their dead son, like, but
Oh.
but they don't actually have.
I wonder if he took that from the Madagascar tradition.
I think he got it from this research he did for what Pinochet did.
Always
Dogs,
okay.
yeah.
There is also, there in the Nordic countries, they do, I don't know if everybody does it, but it's a water burial.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
It's a tradition in Varanasi, Indra.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the word, I didn't go into
Water
that.
burial.
Then a tradition in India, in part of India, Varanasi, India, involves parading the body through the streets. The bodies are dressed in colors that highlight their virtues. Like red would be for purity, yellow for knowledge, in order to end the cycle of reincarnation.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
The bodies are sprinkled with water from the Ganges River and then cremated.
Okay.
So I thought, I guess reincarnation, people get sick of coming back. So I don't want to come back. In South Korea, they turn the ashes of the dead into beads. And they're placed in vases or open dishes and displayed. And the Filipinos have many traditions. I guess these are the different Filipino tribes. Tingurian people dress deceased in their fanciest clothes and sit the body on a chair, often placing a lit cigarette in their lips. Imagine going to visit somebody.
Wow.
The Benguit people blindfold the dead before placing them in chairs at the entrance to the home.
Wow.
The Cebuano people dress children attending funerals in red so they won't see ghosts.
Oh, interesting.
And Sagada region hang coffins from cliffs so that the people are closer to heaven.
Oh, interesting.
Cavite entomb people vertically.
Quiet.
Hey, I'm trying to read about funerals. Cavite entomb people vertically in a hollowed out tree chosen by the person before death.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
see that
kinda
I like that one.
You like?
I would like to be in a tree.
cool. Would you like to be
I
a tree?
want my ashes to be scattered around a tree.
They have
I
actually
wanna
ones where
do
you
this-
could be in a seed pod for a tree and grow. They could compost
Oh,
you
yeah.
into a tree seed pod and
I want
grow
to
into
sit
a tree.
you on a limb and put a cigarette in.
Let us do that first.
I did give up smoking, but that would be my last cigarette.
It would be our last.
But
Exactly.
I thought it was interesting. I mean, there's so many different,
Yeah.
but
I had heard this,
cultural
and
things.
there's no research behind this at all, but I thought I heard somewhere that in the Hebrew religion that the date that you die is very significant, meaning
Oh.
that if you die on the day that you're born, it actually means a complete life. That
Oh.
you completed,
Oh,
you
the
reached
cycle. Yep.
essentially
It's like
like-
Nirvana. Yeah.
right, or if you know, the closer you are to your birth date,
Yeah.
that shows how much you've achieved and as far as the cycle. I don't know if that's true.
When my husband was alive, he had this number 28. I know I've told you guys about it before. And, he considered it like a special number in his
Yeah.
life because it popped up a lot.
Yes.
Like one of his kids was born on the 28th. I mean, there was so many things that happened and now I can't remember them all. It's been years. But he died on February 8th, which is 2/8.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't even dawn on me. I think one of my sisters, my sister Maureen said, wow, that's weird.
Wow.
2/8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty wild.
Do you guys know your death date?
no, I don't want to know.
What's today's
if you
date?
I just
could
hope
know.
that is sudden. No, I want it to be sudden. I don't want to know.
You wouldn't know.
No, I don't want to know.
Do you want to know?
I know.
Oh, you do? What's your
Yeah,
date?
I'm not saying it.
No, don't
Oh, okay.
tell me.
I told Niall, he knows.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you know?
It came to me in a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's going to happen.
It's true. It's true. It doesn't mean it's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, when you say
Don't
it's
make
true.
it happen.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not at all. But that when I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this isn't a good long time.
Yeah, me too.
And then I told him his.
Be careful crossing streets.
Oh my
You
gosh.
told your kids?
No, I told him
Dial.
his afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Wow, so
Yeah.
that was in a dream too?
Yes, it was a really interesting dream.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it wasn't scary in any way. So I was like, this was an interesting dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to
Leave
see
it
that.
to
I
you.
don't want to know. I don't want to
You
know
don't
that
wanna
because
know.
you always
Yeah.
It's
every
hanging
day.
over
I mean,
there.
it's at my age. I
Yeah.
still think when I wake up, oh my God, life is going by so quickly, and I'm this much. I think about like I'm close to death
Yeah.
now. Like
Yeah,
I
me
could
too.
die at any time. I am a healthy person,
Right.
but
Yeah.
but who knows?
Well, I know,
You
when you're reading the obituaries and you see how old somebody is, you're like,
they're younger than me.
Yeah,
I know.
like-
No, I did it, especially with our friend Di, and my brother lost his very good friend this week. He was
Yeah.
only 48
Yeah.
oh,
and a cancer again. Like, when you
Yeah.
think about this, you're like, my goodness.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I am older than my father now because my father died at
Yeah.
69. My sister Eileen died at 54. My husband died at 56.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
it's, Bill died at 63.
Yeah.
It's like, you think, oh my God, So I'm
Right.
fortunate to be still alive.
But the life expectancy has really increased in significant, like back
But now it's decreasing, they said.
right. I think right now it's at 82. I
Well,
think
wait, it's going to
it
get
is.
worse with Kennedy in charge of our health, God
Yeah,
help us, and
yeah.
Dr. Oz.
Yeah, jeez. Anyway, my dogs are going crazy. They want me to feed them, but that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was
And
interesting.
I can't believe that was for our 100th though. You talked about death and funerals on our 100th podcast.
That is hysterical. I never thought of that.
I know. Hey, listen, death is a part of life, and you know what? You can't, I'm trying to remember where I saw this quote from. Shit. It was like a pearl of wisdom. It was somebody said it famous, and I read it recently, and the gist of it was, stop being afraid of death because it's part of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, don't live your life in fear of your death because, I know what it was. It was when I went to that meditations. I read
Oh,
Meditations
right.
by Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that he said that impressed me the most out of that whole book.
Yes.
And I just thought, oh my God, that's like a pearl of wisdom, like it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
We don't like to talk about death. We don't like to think about death. But it's inevitable for
Oh, yeah.
all of us.
But
And
we shouldn't waste time thinking about it.
no, but it isn't
No,
like
no.
I dwell on it and I'm
Yeah.
afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to die. I just hope that it's
I know
peacefully
we
and
all
quickly.
feel the same way. We want our children to outlive us.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
definitely.
major
Of course
thing.
we
That's
do.
the
Yeah.
major thing that
Of course.
crossed my mind. Like,
Yeah, definitely. So,
anyway.
but
Thank
anyway,
you.
but anyway,
Thank you for watching. If you're still with us, I'm gonna go feed my dogs.
Bye,
okay,
everybody.
folks, bye.
See you next time.
But this was good. It's been a while
Lacey.
since we've done
I
this.
know. We
I
end
know.
on the death segment.